Malaysia. Only in this country the king is elected and power is not inherited. In cinemas, the lights stay on during screenings to prevent couples from kissing. Women's armpits are considered the same intimate area as the breasts, and you can be fined for listening to a Despacito song. Yes, I'm serious. The lyrics of the song contain very transparent hints about relations between the sexes, which is unacceptable for a Muslim country. This is despite the fact that Spanish is not spoken in Malaysia.
Speaking of languages, the main population of Malaysia is Malays, Chinese and Tamil Indians. Often they only know their own language, so the government is forced to translate all important announcements into Chinese and Tamil. English is used for tourists and representatives of national minorities. Educated Malaysians often speak all four languages and easily switch between them even when talking to the same person. It is convenient to discuss different things in different languages.
Malaysia is truly a country of contrasts. Here you can see everything within a couple of minutes' work. Sparkling skyscrapers, poor shacks, beauty and dirt. The Malays themselves are a people who, from time immemorial, have been famous in Asia as formidable pirates and experienced sailors.
And our journey continues. Directly from the island of Langkawi, we flew to the capital of Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, to show you 10 reasons to visit this beautiful city. Well, let's count.
The first and most obvious reason to come to Malaysia is the countless number of skyscrapers. Looking out of the window of a high-rise hotel room at the surrounding skyscrapers is one of the main attractions of the city. Kuala Lumpur is the champion of Asia in terms of the number of hotels with a rooftop pool. We must not forget that this is a hot metropolis, so it is very important for tourists here to rest and recover after exploring the city. And what better way to relax than swimming in a pool overlooking the city?
So we decided to live in one of the luxury condos in the capital. This is what our home looks like inside, but the real thrill is on the roof. The city is located in a seismically safe zone. There are no earthquakes, tsunamis, and everything else, which is why it is so actively and boldly built up with skyscrapers. There are even skyscrapers without windows in Kuala Lumpur. Apparently, some people here are already quite tired of the sun.
Well, the visiting card of not only the capital, but the whole country is the famous Petronas Towers. Two skyscrapers connected to each other by the Sky Bridge. The towers house a huge shopping center with boutiques of world brands, as well as restaurants, a science center, and the country's Philharmonic Orchestra. Interestingly, the towers were built by different corporations. Samsung built its tower correctly, but Hazama Corporation made a slight mistake and discovered that the tower had a slope of 25 millimeters. To correct the tilt, the next 16 floors were tilted back by 20 millimeters. However, in all the photographs both towers look great.
At night, as you may have noticed, they begin to glow, so you can swim in your pool and enjoy the view of the towers even at night. On the territory of the towers, singing fountains turn on in the evenings, which gather both tourists and local residents around them. During the day, it's just a well-kept, beautiful green park, which is a great way to escape from the bustle of the city and enjoy nature in the very center of the city. By the way, on the way to the towers you can come across a very beautiful pedestrian bridge. During the day there is practically no one here, but at night it attracts TikTokers from all over the city.
The Malays are generally obsessed with landscaping, and this is very cool. Here you can see greenery not only around the buildings, but also on them. Kuala is also home to the tallest building in Malaysia, and the second tallest building in the world after the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Its height is 678.9 meters. In our guide to Kuala Lumpur, we have made for you a selection of hotels with stunning views and swimming pools. The link will be in the description.
If you decide to rent a car or bike here, I hope that you have nerves of steel, because driving will be very difficult. The city road system is extremely confusing, and you can't get by without a navigator. By the way, Malaysia uses left-hand traffic. So, when crossing the street in Kuala Lumpur, look first to the right and then to the left. The Malays don't seem to be famous for their addiction to alcohol, but I don't know how to explain the lack of straight streets in this city. Almost all the streets of Kuala Lumpur twist and intertwine in the most picturesque way. A small life hack. If you get lost and your phone dies, use the Skyscrapers to guide you.
But don't rush to get upset. Public transport is very well developed here. Here you will find an underground metro, buses, electric trains, monorails, and actually quite inexpensive taxis. Free Gokul buses run around the center. They walk in circles in one direction. The routes pass through the most interesting places, so you can even travel for free. Please note that on commuter sitter trains there are carriages only for women. They are marked with these pink stickers. But no matter how much we looked, there were always men there too. Apparently they don't monitor this so strictly here. And on these trains, sometimes the air conditioning is turned on at 30 Celsius, so it makes sense to take a jacket with you. Automatic monorail trains also run through the city center. They do not have drivers. They are controlled by a computer and controlled by operators. We liked riding this way more. The network is well developed, and in addition to the fact that you can get where you need to go, you also enjoy a gorgeous view of the city in the process.
Kuala Lumpur is not only about skyscrapers. In the center there is a very authentic Merdeka Square, a large green field, the building of Sultan Abdul Samad, and a 95-meter flagpole erected in memory of the first raising of the Malaysian flag. On the Malaysian flag, the crescent and star symbols of Islam, and the 14 rays of the star and 14 stripes represent the 14 members of the Federation of Malaysia.
Behind the Sultan's building, there is an embankment with views of the confluence of two rivers. And this place is very significant for this city, or rather for its name. Kuala Lumpur translates as the confluence of dirty rivers. I agree it doesn't sound very good, but everyone is used to it. This may be why the city's name is often shortened to KL. Locals are generally very obsessed with cuts and cut everything they can. But that's not the point now. If not for these rivers, there might not have been a city here, because it was in them that deposits of precious tin were found, which served as the basis for the construction of the city here. In general, all the rivers flowing through Kuala Lumpur are covered with concrete banks, and the water in them is polluted to a critical level, and there is no life in it. So we don't recommend swimming, much less drinking from them.
Kuala Lumpur is rich in temples and mosques. Here you can find a gorgeous Hindu temple, although when we visited it was closed for reconstruction. But I'll tell you this, even in this form it looks very unusual and not standard for a temple. Also in Kuala Lumpur is the largest Chinese temple in Southeast Asia. This is not only the largest, but also a very beautiful Chinese temple. Just look at this work of art. People come here to pray, light candles and incense, and some rituals look very nice, like this one. In addition, the temple is located on a hill and offers beautiful views of the city. People come here either to pray or take pictures. There is no third.
Despite the rapid deforestation, the capital's authorities are constantly increasing the number of green spaces in the city. There really are a lot of parks here, and we would like to recommend one of them to you. Botanical Garden of Perdana. Here you will find waterfalls, ponds, bamboo houses, skate areas, and much more interesting things. But this contrast of a green park, lake and skyscrapers is absolutely something incredible. It took us a whole day to explore the park, but I'm not sure we managed to cover everything. All sorts of rituals, birthdays and weddings are held here. Speaking of weddings, in some regions of the country, after a wedding, newlyweds cannot use the toilet for 3 days. To meet the deadline, they do not eat or drink anything at the wedding. It is believed that breaking tradition will lead to all sorts of misfortunes, and traditionally, Malay women cannot leave the house for 1 to 1 months after giving birth. Only the closest ones see the mother and baby at this time. Also, a woman is forbidden to wash her hair, and she can only take a bath with herbs. At this time, the mother is completely freed from household chores. She only needs to take care of the baby. All household issues, such as washing, cooking, cleaning, shopping, fall on the shoulders of the mother-in-law or nanny. What a convenient idea.
Tell me, how many cities do you know that have a huge cave in which you can take a walk? Even from the street it looks very epic, a modern metropolis. And there are huge green mountains with caves. And this contrast is simply amazing. We have come to show you the famous Batu Caves. They represent a whole complex of several caves. Climbing a staircase of 272 steps, visitors find themselves in the cave, which is called Light. It is considered the largest and most popular of all. Its height is about 100 meters. The oldest caves, which number more than 400 million. Since 1860, the Chinese settled here and began to dig up the remains of bat and bird droppings. At the beginning of the 19th century, an Indian trader found Batu Caves and was struck by the entrance to the main cave. So he decided to dedicate the temple to the god Murugan, in Hinduism, the god of war. It is his 43-meter statue that stands at the entrance to the cave.
In Kuala you can find the old railway station, which is still in operation, but only within the city's train network. We couldn't miss this opportunity and came to see it. As soon as you get off the train, you immediately feel the whiff of the colonial era. And the Moorish style really makes this building stand out among the crowd of skyscrapers. In the 20th century it was Malaysia's main transport hub. In 1986, reconstruction was carried out. Modern waiting rooms equipped with air conditioning, bars and information desks for tourists appeared here.
Kuala Lumpur also has some cool street art. The Malays quickly realized that instead of the usual renovation of the facades of old houses, they could be painted by local artists working in the mural style. In general, modern street art is step-by-step transforming the old quarters of Kuala Lumpur into fashionable Instagram locations. In particular, at the confluence of two dirty rivers there is one of the objects of Malay street art. But to dive deeper into this topic, you need to go to Chinatown. The colorful Chinatown is home to the best examples of street art. The establishments themselves are already separate works. But if we go into the secret courtyard, we will find ourselves in a separate world altogether. And you know, I don't even want to comment on anything here. Just like when I was there and just walked around and looked at all the small details of this atmospheric place.
For those who are especially stuffy like me, there are many interesting museums in Kuala. In general, I decided to go to one of them, namely the Textile Museum, which is located on Merdeka Square. I won't bore you with the museum. After all, that's the fun of it, so you can come and see everything for yourself. Let me just say that the museum has access to a terrace, which offers a cool view of the square. Well, how can we not mention the Malay bazaars, markets, food courts, and shopping centers for shopping. In Chinatown, you can find a cool Chinese market. The Indian Quarter has long rows of vegetable and souvenir shops. By the way, you can also find beautiful arches and fountains there. And the quarter itself can be easily found by the smell of curry. No joke, it smells like it a kilometer away.
In general, in Malaysia the city begins to come to life in the late afternoon. The sun sets behind the horizon and everyone goes outside. Night markets and food courts open. For such markets, it is absolutely normal for a cat to sit and rats to run along the tents nearby. And this is the bazaar, which is a 5-minute walk from the Petronas Towers.
There are also a huge number of shopping centers in Kuala. In one of them, we found an incredibly tasty wok that is cooked on the grill. God, how deliciously he smelled like a fire. In another shopping center, we were stuck at a cafe with conveyors along which food travels. You sit at a table and take what you like from the belt, and at the end you pay. 21st century. We also found one very cozy food court near the Petronas Towers. Large selection of different foods, reasonable prices and fire shows. What else do you need for a perfect end to the day?
Well, for dessert, one of our favorite things about Kuala Lumpur is the rooftop bars. They are everywhere, in the center, on the outskirts, budget, luxury. For every taste and color. So we couldn't resist and found a Skybar with a hookah and a cool view of the city. Just look how beautiful it is.
Well, at the end, friends, a little life hack for you. When traveling around Malaysia or Singapore, you will definitely notice that the Euro plugs we're used to are not compatible with Malay sockets. True, in recent years, hybrid sockets have increasingly appeared in hotels, but now we will show you how to use a Malay socket for a Euro plug. Take a pencil or a wooden sushi stick and press into the top hole. A plastic curtain will open in the main holes. Holding the pencil, plug in the plug and voila! It's even better to take care in advance and buy a universal adapter for any plug or socket. Write what you think about Kuala Lumpur and whether this is how you imagined it. That's all for today. See you in the next video. Sawadee Cup.